Alright, well, I'm enjoying my Saturday off. It's around 2:30 in the afternoon. My feet are still hurting, but not as bad as they were yesterday. I've been staying off them for the most part. I walked up to the truck once there, which was quite a walk with my sore feet, but otherwise I have been pretty much staying off them. Um, yeah, anyway, it's a beautiful day here. Rocky's off somewhere. I'm sure he's having a nap in the shade somewhere. I don't know just where, but he'll be around here. He could be a couple of feet away from me in the weeds and I wouldn't know it. He's pretty stealthy, is Rocky. Anyway, I find it interesting, and I don't know, it says something about human nature, I guess. But somebody posted a thing in one of our local community pages on Facebook. Just yesterday they posted it. The post has been taken down now, but yesterday they posted it. And basically, it was asking about the two men who walk around carrying signs in town. And there are a couple of guys, and they walk the streets every day. It doesn't matter what the weather, doesn't matter how cold or hot it is, rain, snow, sun, wind, it doesn't matter. They're out there every day. They're older men, and they walk around with these signs, and it has to do with the COVID shot related injuries. Basically, the signs have a website you can go to listed on them. It says to learn more or whatever, and it talks about freedom of choice and all that. Well, somebody asked about them. A lot of people would wonder, for sure. I mean, so somebody did ask about them anyway and what they're doing. And some of the vitriol that came out of that. There are a lot of people in this town who absolutely hate those two men for what they're doing. Apparently walking around with a placard um, uh, promoting freedom of choice in any regard. I guess if it was freedom of choice with abortion or with, who you go to bed with or whatever, that'd be fine. But because it isn't that, it's they're met with a lot of hatred anyway. And anyway, they've been out every day for probably 3 years now, walking the streets and promoting their message. Now, look, I tend to agree with them, but even if I didn't, I wouldn't have an issue with them being out doing what they're doing. They're not hurting anybody. They're not physically attacking people. They're not cussing people out. They're not blocking traffic. They're not making a nuisance of themselves. They just go up and down the street with their signs. That's all. So as far as I'm concerned, good on them. They're entitled to do it. They're not breaking any laws. And even if they were, they still, even if they were breaking a law by doing it, the law would probably be unjust. That would say that a man can't do that. So, as far as I'm concerned, good on them. And some people understood it. There were even people who disagreed with them, but were still supportive in the sense that they said, well, they're allowed to do it. I don't agree with them. I don't really like their message, but they're allowed to do it. There were other people, though, who were quite nasty about it, and, they need to have this, that, and the other thing done to them, and so on. Anyway, I found it interesting just to read the comments and to see how many people in Canada are really against a lot of freedoms. Like, we have a government now that's taking freedoms away from us, and a lot of people in Canada support that. A lot of people in Canada say, well, we need to have our freedoms taken because people are stupid. People do stupid things, and so we need to be parented by the government. We need to have our freedoms taken from us. And it's for our own good that they do these things. And there's a lot of people in Canada who really believe that narrative. Now, of course, if that makes sense to them, they're entitled to believe it. Doesn't make sense to me. Um, I'm not 7 years old, and the government is not my dad. Um, I was 7 years old, and I had a dad who I had to obey. That phase of my life is over with now. It was necessary when I was 7. It is not necessary now because I'm a grown man, you see. And I don't want the government taking the parental role in my life. And I don't want the government telling me what I'm allowed to think and what I'm allowed to say and what I'm allowed to do and where I'm allowed to go and who I'm allowed to go there with and what I'm allowed to do when I get there and on like that. I don't want the government involved in my life. I don't want them telling me how I can spend my money. I don't want them telling me how I can, who I can associate with, what I can say, what I can do, where I can go, and so on. And so, whenever this comes up, this situation, I do find it interesting to see how many Canadians say, well, it's a good thing, really. The government has our best interest at heart, and they're trying to protect us from ourselves because we're pretty stupid. We'll do bad things, we'll do stupid things, and we need the government to step in and protect us from our own stupidity. Has anybody ever seen how the government operates? Anybody who has will tell you if you want to see stupidity, look at the government. If you really want to see stupidity, you'll find lots of it with the government, in the government. I don't really want people who can't manage their own affairs properly micromanaging me. Really, I don't want anybody managing me or micromanaging me, even those who can manage their affairs properly. Even those people, I don't want them micromanaging me. And that's just how it is, Anyway, I just found it interesting. That's all, some of the comments on there. Apparently, it looks like I've got a woman who hate watches this channel. I've got a few. I know that. There's a few. And as far as the ones I know about are all women. Every so often they reveal themselves, and it's always a woman. And they'll hate watch this channel. And again, I don't understand that. This woman made some comments on Facebook on this post about me, because I made a comment about how the COVID injections are really just a time-release lethal injection. And she started going on about how I should just go and hang out with my cat or whatever, seeing as how I like to just substitute him for any real connection or all this business, and how and then she made some comment saying that he's afraid of the shots, but he'll take Ozempic so his diabetic feet don't fall off and all that. So I'm guessing she saw a video where I was these videos in the last couple of days where I've said I have sore feet. I don't have diabetes and I don't take Ozempic. And I actually do have connections with other people. My cat isn't my only companion. He's my most constant and closest companion, for sure. But he's not my only companion. And he's not my only friend. He's probably my best friend, but he's not my only friend. Anyway, the reason my feet are sore, and I told this woman this in a reply, this girl, I don't think she deserves the title of woman, I think girl would be more accurate. The reason I told her, what I told her in one of my replies to her is basically that she should be ashamed of herself, because she's telling lies, for one thing, and they're right out of left field. I don't know where they're coming from. But I told her too, I said, you must have watched my YouTube channel, and that's where you got this information that you're now twisting into something else. And I told her, diabetes is a terrible thing. I actually have, and I wasn't lying either when I said this. I've had a couple of people close to me die from complications from diabetes. I've had it happen twice that people I knew and was close to and thought very highly of and really loved died because they had diabetes. One of them died from juvenile diabetes, and the other died just from the regular sugar diabetes that people sometimes get. It's a terrible disease. It kills people, it causes blindness, it causes amputations. It's an absolutely horrible disease, and you don't want it if you can help it. Anyway, I don't have it as far as I know. I'm not taking any medications. I don't take Ozempic or anything else, and I'm not diabetic as far as I know. I haven't been to a doctor in a very long time, so that's why I say as far as I know. It's not like I'm going to the doctor all the time and might find something out that I wouldn't otherwise know. But as far as I know, I don't have diabetes anyway. But how my feet got into the condition they're in right now, though, is that I spent yesterday doing good, hard, honest, and necessary work. That's why my feet are hurting me as bad as they are. And I did it in boots that were hard on my feet, and I did it in the heat and in the I did it in the heat and in the humidity and everything else. I worked hard yesterday. I spent yesterday removing standing dead timber, deadfall, and prickly ash bushes from a property, from private land, doing what's called forest management. That's what I was doing yesterday with a chainsaw. And a big gas-powered weed eater, but instead of having a line on the end of it to cut weeds, it has a saw blade. It has a big friggin' circular saw blade. And you get in there and you can cut through stuff with that. And that thing can be a real pig to use, I'll tell you. It vibrates like crazy. It's hot. It gets really hot, and you got to bear in mind it's already hot, and the darn thing will jerk you around and everything else. Sometimes it'll catch onto something and it'll pull you where it wants you to go, and you don't have any say. You'll go in that direction if it does that, And I'll tell you, it's a jolting experience when that happens. I've even had it a few times happen where it's come back and smashed me in the stomach and everything else. I mean, it's not, the work I do isn't easy. It's hard work. Operating a chainsaw is dangerous work too, cutting down deadfall. Deadfall and standing dead timber. Standing dead timber is especially dangerous because it's structurally unsound. It's not like a healthy tree. It's a dead tree. In some cases, it's been dead for quite a while. And so you don't know what it's going to do. I've had experiences doing that, where I start cutting through a tree, and all of a sudden the tree starts to twist, and it's going to come down differently than I thought it was going to come down. This happens. It doesn't happen every time, but it does happen with standing dead timber, and you can get yourself into a real situation. The worst situation I had doing that occurred last year, where a tree started to twist midway through the back cut, and I knew this damn thing is not going to fall where I want it to. In fact, it's going to come back probably in my direction. And so what do I do now? And if I stop cutting now, the saw is going to be stuck in the tree, because the gap's going to close up on top of the saw, and the saw is going to be stuck in the tree. But if I continue cutting, the way it's twisting, it may kick the saw right back out at me too. I may end up with that chainsaw coming right back out at me, which again is very dangerous. So what I ended up doing is I just kept going, scared. You want to talk about scared? I was scared. I was really scared because I knew the kind of trouble I was in, and I knew the potential for injury or death that existed in that situation. Now what I ended up doing is, because it came down in such a way it blocked my path out, because you always have an escape route. When you're cutting a tree, you plan in advance how you're going to get away from it when it starts to fall, because you don't want to be standing beside it when it falls. And so you have an escape route. This thing came right down in my escape route, and there was no other way out. So I went backwards into the friggin' prickly ash bushes with all the thorns and everything. This is what prickly ash does to your skin. My arm's dirty, I know, but I don't know what you can see, but there, if you can see it, that these scratches here, that's what prickly ash does to you. I went backwards into that, and that tree came right down in front of me. Like literally, fell down 2 inches from the toes of my boots. Right down in front of my face. That's how close it was to me. Now, you want to talk about a shock to the system. You know, and see, these things can happen. Standing dead timber is unpredictable. I'm not cutting as much of the standing stuff as I used to for that reason, because I had a couple of close calls last summer. That was just one of them. I had another close call too, and I let the property owner know, but I'm nervous about it. So I'm not doing as much of it as I did. There are some bigger trees that I'm not cutting. I'm still cutting the stuff that's smaller in diameter though, and even some of that stuff has the potential to do a lot of harm though, if it comes down the wrong way. Because even a lot of that stuff is 6 inches in diameter or 8 inches in diameter or whatever, you know, so it could still do you harm. But here's the thing. That's why my feet are bothering me today, is because I was in the woods doing forest management. I was in the woods doing work. You know, I was working, and it's hard work. You had to haul all that stuff out of there, load it onto a trailer, connected to a tractor, and drive it to where it's going to be burnt eventually. Then you got to unload it all, and then you go back and you do it again. You know, and you do that all day long. And you're on your feet. When I'm not on the tractor, I'm on my feet. You know, and like I say, I love my work. I really do. There's a lot of satisfaction in it. And I love the people I work for. And there's different people I work for. I love them all. And I'm grateful for the work, because I'm able to earn money so I can survive. And so I'm really grateful for the work. But make no mistake, it's hard work, and it's dangerous work. And it wreaks havoc on your body, especially, you know, like I say, it wreaked havoc yesterday on my feet. That was the big thing. So, you know, like I say, these people that will twist something around into something else in order to try to win an argument that is unwinnable to them, again, I don't understand that. I don't understand people who watch somebody just to hate on them. I mean, get a life. That's all I can say to you. Just get a life if you're doing that. Now, you're welcome to do it. I wouldn't stop you if I could, and honestly, I can't stop you. I don't have the power to stop anybody from watching these videos. And really, I don't think I should have that power. So look, I'll uphold anybody in their right to watch me so they can hate on me. But they should bear in mind that their views do help the channel. You know, it makes the channel more prominent, for one thing, the more you watch it. And so you're actually helping somebody you don't like when you do that. Because if you really dislike me that much, you know, you're actually helping my channel grow, believe it or not. In fact, even if you do a thumbs down reaction on my video, even if you were to do that, it would still be a positive for me, because it's an interaction. And YouTube is funny. Like, they don't take negative reactions as a negative. They take it as a positive, because it means that somebody watched the video. They had a bad reaction to it, but they watched it. And that's all YouTube cares about, is how many watch hours are you getting. Now, I'm not monetized or anything, so it doesn't earn me money. YouTube does mess with my hours, with my watch hours, and stuff like that. And there's a good chance I'll never qualify for monetization. And if I ever do qualify for monetization, there's a good chance that I won't accept it because I'm afraid that it would cause, I may have my wings clipped. If I start taking money, then I put myself into a category where I can be scrutinized more carefully by YouTube. And I don't really want that. I like to have the freedom that I have. I'm kind of big on freedom if you haven't figured it out already. So, anyway, but the bottom line is this: it still helps my channel grow. And it still counts as a positive. So even if you put a thumbs down on a video, have you ever watched some of these YouTubers and they'll say, well, if you like the video, put a thumbs up. If you don't like it, do a thumbs down. Yeah, you know why they're saying that? Because either one is the same to YouTube. It's an interaction and therefore it's a positive. That's why they tell you that. Because it's not going to hurt them a bit. It's going to help them. And even the fact that you watched helped them, because YouTube keeps track of how many views you get and how many minutes a person watches. And the longer you watch, the better it is for the person, or the creator, they call us, or whatever, for the one making the video. And so people who hate watch somebody on YouTube, all they're really doing is helping us. And if they dislike, some of these people I know, they hate me. They absolutely despise me, And I look at it, I say, why would you want to help me? You're watching my videos, you're helping me, whether you know it or not. So anyway, I'm going to do you a solid, any of you haters out there, and let you know that you want to watch my videos, go right ahead. You're only helping me if you do. If you want to hate watch me or whatever. But just be aware, you are helping me. Like, if you think that your views don't have an effect, you're wrong. And they don't have a negative effect, they have a positive effect. So, you're not hurting me any by hate watching me. And fill your boots, you want to hate watch, go ahead. Anyway, I found it interesting though, so I got a local girl anyway who hate watches me on this channel and then uses what she sees on the channel, or tries to use it against me on YouTube, on Facebook. But anyway, it's kind of silly. Basically, what I told her is, all you've done really is you've mocked and ridiculed an honest, hard-working man, and it's all you've accomplished, and you've made fun of people who have diabetes. Basically, that's what you've done. Terrible disease that kills people and maims people and everything else, blinds people and everything else. You've turned around. You've mocked and ridiculed them as well. So there you go. You're not a very good one to set one's moral compass by, is the way I put it. I see now that that post has been taken down. So I don't know if she read my reply and went completely insane and said a bunch of stuff that caused the post to be taken down, or if the person who wrote the post has figured, oh well, I got my answer and now people are just being nasty, so I'm going to just take it down, or if the moderator on the group, on the page, took it down or what, I just don't know. But anyway, the post is down now. The guy did get his answer. Somebody did tell him why those men are out there, and that's what he was after, so he got that. And nothing wrong with asking a question. If you don't know something, how are you going to know it if you don't ask about it? So good on the guy for making the post. There's still a lot of really strong feelings around here, obviously, about the lockdowns and mandates and all the rest of it. So it hasn't been forgotten, which is probably a good thing in a way, because we need to remember who and when and what happens. We need to remember all that. There was a YouTuber I used to watch. He's dead now. He went by the name Jeff C. And Jeff C. lived in Montreal, and he was talking about that he was working on something really big that was going to blow everything wide open with this COVID business. And then he was found dead in his apartment of a brain aneurysm. Like right after that, he didn't give any detail. He just said, "I'm working on something really big," and it was right after that. Anyway, he started the process to do a live stream, and that came up, and I got my notification on my phone, as did anyone else who watched his channel, who was a subscriber. And the live stream begins in half an hour or whatever. Well, 2 days went by, and it was just a continuous thing, live stream begins, and it never did, eh? And anyway, so it turns out he was found dead in his apartment. That's what happened. Aneurysm, they said. Anyway, one of the things he used to say, though, is don't forget who these people are. Never forget who's doing this to you. That was one of the things he used to say, and he was absolutely right. Never forget, never forget who these people are. And anyway, bottom line, I just find human nature very interesting. That's all. I could sit here and just watch people. Not that there's any people back here, mind you, but just on the internet I can watch them. I don't need to stand on a street corner and watch them. I just watch them on the internet, and it's amazing the human nature you see on the internet. You see the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. You really do. All right, that's it for now. We'll see y'all later.